Last week on Sport Fishing, we showed you how to hook largemouth bass in cold water conditions at San Diego's lower Otay Lake. Bass expert George Kramer showed us how to slow fish crankbaits to hook these fish in cold water conditions. Well, this week on Sport Fishing, Kramer's back to show us more about cold water conditions and to explain how to fish rubber worms when chasing bass in the wintertime. So sit back and enjoy this week's episode of Sport Fishing.
Hey.
This week's episode of Sport Fishing is brought to you by Rebel Lures, quality products for fishermen throughout the world. Bomber Lures, tie one on. And by Silver Thread. It's time to change your line. It's time for Silver Thread.
A lot of times when you bang something on the bottom, pause, because that allows that bait to change attitude in the water and also float loose. Mine's fouled on something. Yeah, see? This water's clear. There's still, even this late in the year, we're seeing some grass on the that we're picking up, and we want to clean that off your lure so that it doesn't affect the way it runs.
This is just proof that anybody can catch bass here.
No. Okay, now remember, you got a stiff rod there, so don't put too much pressure on the fish.
Okay.
You'll shake that bait out of your... There, oh yeah.
There he is. Boy, he ate it good. Nice little largemouth. Mr. Otay bass, here he is. I'm fishing a Bomber Model A. I'm going with a little bit different color, I gotta say truce color. A little orange on the bottom. And according to the meter, you want to have that little orange or red on there. Orange and red was what the meter said. Here's proof that it works. Here's another fish. Mr. Kramer, you're deadly with that lure.
That's a good bait. Good bait. Oh, this one's a little. This one's got hips.
Looks like he wants to jump a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can get him
That's
over.
a nice bass.
Hey. I'll tell you, this guy
Think
really.
that one was hungry?
I think he wanted it.
Need a pair of pliers or something?
Yeah, I got one right here, thank you. Goodness sakes. There you go.
Let's take another close-up look at the lure and the fish together.
Okay.
Oh, but it was it fooled this guy.
Okay.
And that's just that Bomber A.
Bomber Model A. Banging in the rocks.
On this fish, I know she did something a little bit different. You went, you stopped, stop and go technique. You looked
I
at?
was crawling this crawdad crankbait over the rock top, so every time it would dig in, I'd stop, let it float up a tad, and then crank more. He picked it off. All right.
Beautiful fish.
Okay. I think one thing that happens with this kind of fishing, especially the exposed hook, is people look at it as a financial investment. They go, oh goodness, 17 cents a piece. If I got to buy 25 of those, what's it going to cost me? And gee whiz, I'm going to lose them. But it doesn't take all that many of days of fishing them where you get fairly proficient. You start to feel the kinds of bottom that put your lure at risk, and you tend to be a little more careful, and you don't get hung up as often.
Come on. Yeah. On the power worm, just like you said. Oh, he jumped.
Here's another double.
All right, we got double going. George is on.
Oh, look at that. Woo! Holy toly. Holy. Well, mine went back down again, so. Oh, I think I nipped you on this one this time, buddy. Look at that.
Well, let me get my fish away from yours. Yours is too big. You might eat it.
I think you're safe. Oh.
That's a bass.
Yeah. And because we were fishing above and shaking, he's hooked right in that upper lip. And he's on tight. All right.
That's a quality bass. This one, same thing, upper lip. Just like George pointed out there.
Way to go, Dan.
Thank you, sir.
Another wormfish.
This is the first bass I ever got doing that doodling technique. Came up fine. And he's using that dart lead that he's talking about, and I'm going with the Texas style. And I guess it doesn't really matter which rig you go with, they still bite it this way.
You got it.
The one thing we're both using though is a power worm by Berkeley. Think he's ready to go?
Yeah, he'll be off and running.
There he goes. All right, thanks a lot, George. Well, stay tuned and we'll be right back with more action from Lower Otay.
The Galley, recipes and tips for preparing your fish at home. This week, the Galley is brought to you by Acme Lures.
Standing next to me is Terry, the manager here at the Cannery Restaurant, and Bill Hamilton. He's the owner of the Cannery, located in beautiful Newport Beach. And Bill and Terry, thank you both for having us over.
We're glad to have you here. You know, this is our 20th anniversary, Dan, and as a restaurant, before that, for 50 years, it was a fish cannery, the largest employer in Newport Beach, as a matter of fact. So, since the last 20 years, we've enjoyed this waterfront location, served a lot of fresh fish, and show people how a cannery used to look.
Well, this
kind of represent Newport Beach.
It's a beautiful restaurant, but I noticed tied up in front here, you have a couple of large boats. Are those boats connected with the restaurant?
Yes, we own 2 boats that we use for private parties as well as public tours of the harbor. We serve food and beverages aboard. It can be catered for private parties, weddings, and corporate affairs. It's a very nice adjunct to the restaurant since we're right on the waterfront.
Oh, that's nice. And I would take it for granted that since the restaurant's part of the boats, you have catering services and everything.
That's right, and we also have a sport fishing boat that
Oh, you have a
we
sport
charter
fishing
out of here. That's right. So we can send people out and catch their own fish.
And then they can come back here. Is it possible to have the restaurant
Oh,
cook their catch? and
Absolutely, yes, sir.
That's great.
Can't get any fresher than that, can you?
No. And talking about that locally caught fish, what do you specialize in here at the Cannery?
Well, swordfish is our biggest seller, but we also have white sea bass, yellowtail, things that tuna that are caught locally through the commercial fishing fleets. And we try to serve a variety of things that are currently popular.
An angler might want to come down here and try one of your locally cooked dishes. And like you pointed out, you have the local fish and you prepare them here. But for us today, that's part of the reason we're here. We wanted to try one of those. What do you have for us?
We have local sea bass. That's white sea bass, and we're going to prepare it Cajun style.
And that's going to be a fillet of fish type of
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. Well, can we go to the kitchen and see it?
Yes.
Let's go.
All right. Okay, Terry, we have the fish here. And what do we have here?
We have local sea bass we're going to cut up for you today. And our chef is going to show you how to cut it up.
Okay, who's our chef?
This is Roberto De Leon.
And he's the head chef here?
Yes,
at
he
Cannery?
is.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So we're starting off with the whole white sea bass that was caught locally. And we're going to, I guess first thing, just fillet it.
All our fish that we serve here at the cannery is fresh fish.
Notice the way Roberto cuts it. He's going real slow, making sure not to waste any of the meat. This is all bone in here. There's no meat being wasted. You can see the beautiful cut there. And what's the key to making a nice fillet? Take your time, or as you cut the fish like this?
Okay, the important thing to cut a fish, that's take your time, cut it very slowly, so you have any waste.
Is a white sea bass a pretty easy fish to fillet?
Yeah, white sea bass is a very easy fish to cut.
And after we get all done with this side, then we'll go ahead and take the skin off it.
Yeah, we take the skin off, and then we go to the other side. We got a little belly right here.
Is that the rib cage area?
It's the front piece. Okay. We're ready to take the skin off.
So you're just sliding that knife underneath the skin and the
Yeah.
meat?
You don't have to pull the meat, anything. Just pull the skin off. The knives go very slowly.
I wish I was able to fillet them that easily.
Yeah,
Makes it easy,
nice
He
piece
makes
of
it
fish.
look very easy.
And you see the skin here that he pulled off, we have no meat on it. This is perfect. We don't waste anything at all on this.
Okay, Dan, we've got a fillet washed. Now we're going to show you how to prepare it. Roberto,
Okay. We got the seasonings for the blackened.
let me show them what the seasonings are. We have, there's different amounts. We have 1/2 measure on the red pepper and cayenne. Okay. Because these are very hot, you only want to do 1/2 of these two here. The rest will be 1 full measure. We'll start with, we have paprika, garlic, oregano, spices, seasoning spices, white pepper, and salt. You notice that he puts a smaller amount of the salt in. You do it to your own liking. If you like it very spicy, you can add a little extra cayenne pepper or the crushed red pepper.
So we're just gonna go ahead and mix this all in.
We do this in a mixing bowl, mix it all together. Then we'll be putting the fish into it,
This is our washed fillet.
washed fillet. And we'll put it down in and make sure you get it into all the little pockets. The fish is wet, so it's going to absorb a lot of that blackening, the seasoning, very well. Once we have all the seasoning, Roberto's going to take it now and we're going to start cooking.
Now we're gonna put this on the iron skillet.
Yeah, that's really a must. It's one of the most important things about blackening fish is the pan we use.
Now how long has this pan been warmed up? 10 minutes or so?
Roberto, how long do you normally warm a pan up for one fillet?
You can warm up for about 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
Yeah.
On high heat?
Very high flame. Okay. Now we put the fish in the pan.
How long will we cook it here, Roberto?
We're cooking about 2 minutes each side.
2 minutes?
Okay.
Now how would someone at home know that it's ready?
Okay, someone at home, you can stick. You can feel when it's hard or it's very soft.
Okay, so
I feel the fish soft. It's ready.
so you could do that with just a regular toothpick?
Yeah, regular toothpick you can use.
So this,
Almost like a cake consistency, fish should be.
so if it feels soft all the way through, then you know it's ready.
Then
Yeah.
you know it's ready.
But as a good rule, this, before you start picking it, you should give it, what, 2 minutes on each side?
Yeah, about 2 minutes each side.
go ahead and take this fish off. Looks like it's more lighter.
Ready to take it off here?
Ready to take it off.
Go.
Okay, well here comes Roberto with finished dish. Oh, that looks beautiful. Well, thanks a lot, Roberto. That looks wonderful.
Did a good job, Roberto.
I'm gonna go ahead and try a piece. Hope you guys don't
I
mind.
know.
Got my own little audience here watching. That's delicious. That's the best white sea bass I've ever had. Thanks a lot, Roberto.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill, for having us.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Terry, for being there with us.
Thank you.
And for all of you that have never been down here to the cannery, I highly recommend you come down and try one of their great local dishes. I think I'm gonna take this one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. We got a double working. It's hard to believe, but I got mine on a crankbait. And what do you got yours on there, George? On a worm. Same spot. Oh, mine's barely hooked. Look at them jump. Oh, I got lucky. Oh, he's barely hooked too. Look at that, it just came right off.
Yeah. Great.
Got him on that crankbait. There you go. Well, that's hard to believe. Two different styles of fishing off the same area. Does that just give us an idea of how many fish are here? Or? Well, this is what I'm fishing with, and George is fishing with them too. It is a Berkeley power worm. We're fishing a little bit different than that. I'm fishing Texas style. We have our worm hook, a little bead, and then we got the bullet sinker in there. All kind of slides in there. And for those of you who are new to bass fishing, it's real simple. You just slide the worm on, just a little piece, then slide the worm all the way up the hook, and hide that head in there with the line. And then just kind of turn the worm, and the key is to have as straight a line as possible. So you go like that, you know where the worm and the hook's got to go. Slide that in there all the way as you can, and then back it out a little bit. And that's it. You got a nice straight looking worm, and this is what we're fishing with. And once we cast it out, we're just going to doodle it, fish straight up and down like George has us fishing today. And that's what's working on the bass. Just throw it out there and then just work it back in and doodle it all the way in. And the bass are biting. Now, one of the nice things about using the Berkeley worms, these power worms, is they got formula built into the worm, and it seems the fish really like it, and they actually hold on to the worm for a while. This last bass that I just caught, I really didn't know the bass was there. I was just kind of working it. He never really pulled on it, but when I took the slack out, I felt the weight, and when I wind down on it and took the slack out a little bit more on it, the fish was actually chewing on it. You could feel it in his mouth, just biting on the plastic. If that had just been a regular plain worm, he might have spit it out. But that's one of the nice things about using this technique with that worm. Ooh, had a little bump there. Just got to be patient. Like I was saying, that's one of the nice things about combining this technique with the power worm. It'll give you that extra time that you'll need to set the hook, and really don't have to set too hard. Just move that rod tip. Yeah, there we go. Just using that doodling technique on the power worm. Oh, this bass is gonna make me stand up.
Yeah, that's nothing wrong with that.
Another one of these San Diego Lake bass. Ooh, this is a fat guy. So this means I'm doing the right technique, George. We got the hook right there in the top of the mouth.
Yeah, it means we're right above the fish.
Just working it. And just right on that power worm. Texas style with a little bead. Quality bass. I mean, any tournament angler would be happy to catch this
Be
fish.
more than pleased.
And we're catching quite a few of them thanks to Mr. Kramer here. George is putting us on the fish today. Here we go, Mr. Bass. Go back. Thought he was gonna bite my worm again right there. All right,
Dan.
George, let's get another one.
Good to me.
Fish Tales is brought to you by Checkpoint Hook and Knife Sharpeners.
This week's Fish Tales comes to us from the Barnes family of Huntington Beach. Molly and Hannah, 7 and 5 years old, were on their first fishing trip, a visit to the high Sierras where they caught this fine stringer of rainbow trout. It's great to see children enjoying themselves fishing. For being our Fish Tale this week, the Barnes family will receive a free copy of my book, Saltwater Fishing Adventures. Remember, every fish tale used on the air receives a free book. Send your fish tales, photos or videos, and any questions or comments to Sport Fishing, P.O. Box 90, Montebello, California, 90640. All right, good. Mr. Otay, I love a worm bass here. Well, he engulfed that worm.
Yeah. Fell for that power worm there.
Is that a power worm you got on there?
Yeah, pumpkin power worm.
There you go.
There was a bunch of fish directly under the boat. Right now, I'm going to see if I can't catch them right this second.
Well, I wish we had the time to show you all the bass we landed here at Lower Otay Lake, but this is all the time we have for this week. I'd like to thank George Kramer and the staff of the San Diego Bass Lakes for helping us in taping today's show. I'm Dan Hernandez, hoping you enjoyed this week's episode of Sport Fishing, and I hope you join us again next week when we go looking for more of the best in sport fishing. If you'd like to order a copy of today's show, please send $15 plus $3 shipping and handling to Sport Fishing, P.O. Box 90, Montebello, California, 90640. Or you can call and fax your orders to us at 213-222-1201.